Well, good morning, all. Oh, I found something that I have not heard before, and it's a birthday song. And we're going to play it right now, and it's from John. Let's see. Here it is. Coming up. Got the sound? Come on.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to dear one. Happy birthday to you. From good friends and true. From good friends and you. May good luck go with you and happiness too.
Hey, what's up, guys? So I decided that I would try to keep things a little bit more regular as far as videos. So I've been trying to come up with stuff to show you guys, and here's the tank that I wanted to show you guys. Alright, if you guys keep up with me on Instagram, I did a mock-up of this tank a few months ago, where I just showed the roots without any plants in it, without any water. And this is kind of what ended up happening. In here I have a couple of black tiger Bettas and some rowweed in the back, and a bunch of other plants like AR mini. I have some coral moss back there, and I just threw in some daphnia so the fish will come out and eat. But yeah, I kind of like how this tank turned out. It's right next to my chair where I like to sit, so I spend a lot of hours staring at this tank.
Really pretty.
And there's one big
Love the scarlet Bettas.
Yeah, and in here I have a bunch of other plants as well, and a pair of histogram of Azazias. In here, this pair is really young, and actually I'm not sure. I'm hoping that's the male right there, and that's the female that he's chasing.
Maybe.
Let's see if I can find that fish. There's another fish in here that I think is pretty interesting, which is a rainbow fish that I accidentally spawned, so it is a hybrid. Here it is. It doesn't look like any of the rainbow fish in the tank above here. This is where it accidentally is. So it's some kind of combination of the rainbow fish I have in this tank. But yeah, somehow I got this little guy, and the body is like really elongated, so it doesn't look like any of the other rainbows. I can't really tell what the parents are. But yeah, I enjoy this tank too. It's going quite nicely. Look at this guy. Not the rainbow, get out of the way, rainbow. But this guy right over here. Move it. Come on, get out of the camera. This guy's I love the camera. But this goby looking guy back there, if I could get a shot of him, is what I'm trying to show you guys. But this is the only native Hawaiian type, native Hawaiian fish that I have. And it's got a opu. I forgot what the second part of the name is. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Goby-like fish. Hello, Mary, try and sort this one out. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish.
Frozen.
Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Instrumental break. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. 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 Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish.
Hi, guys.
I'll take that one all day. I'll play it back and I'll see what I think.
Yes. Nice to be with you all. What's my camera doing? There we go. Cassie B, good morning. Let's see. Let's get a link here in case anybody wants to come sit with me. Craig, hello, hello. First time watching. Nice to have you here. John Quinn. Oh, that's a shame. Generally, if they're carrying, if they're buried, they should carry them through. What typically happens if you've got other fish in the tank is that they get eaten about as quick as they hatch. Oh, hi, Blake. Blake's here this morning. Good morning, good morning. John Doe. Had to play that little piece of yours this morning. John Quinn. Hey, John. We're all huge fans of LRBs. You betcha. Oh, who else is here? Cassie B. Mary Page. Lee Cox. Lee Wilcox. Hi, Lee. Good morning to you. Peplin Creek. John Quinn. John Doe is here. Hey, John.
Morning,
Good
Father
morning.
Fish.
How are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. Wonderful. Where are you located, John?
Delaware.
Oh, Delaware. Okay. I think I asked you that before.
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
remember everything. I have a short memory.
It's all good.
Yeah, nice to see you. What are you doing this morning?
I'm getting ready to feed. Watching you, getting ready to feed the fish, and I got to stain the deck.
Gonna stain the deck today.
Yep.
So you have a boat? That deck,
Huh?
or you're staining
Nah.
the deck?
No, I'm staining the deck. My grandfather just got a deck built on the house a couple months ago. It's treated wood, so I had to let it sit for about 6 months
How
before we
nice.
could stain it.
Cool. Very nice.
Mhm.
Well, that'll keep you busy all day, won't it? How's the weather up there? Nice.
Pretty good. It's getting kind of cold in the morning times, but it warms up during the day for the most part.
Starting to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, starting to
we're
dew in the
still-
morning now, too.
Yeah, we're still overcast here in Florida. Still have a lot of cloud. That storm has not rolled out yet. In fact, there are rain clouds coming in. Looks like. Huh.
Ooh.
Gonna show us your fish tank?
Yeah, I'll show you some fish tank. I just turned the lights on.
Cool. Let's see. John Quinn, Mary Page, Cassie B, Gary Allen, Tisha. Hi, Tisha. Oh, look at this. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. Is that water Sprite? Water Wisteria? What is that?
Water wisteria.
Yeah, nice.
I got water wisteria. I got some guppy grass trying to take off right here.
Uh-huh.
And then, hold on. There we go. I got this plant right here from my local pond. I don't know what it is. It's some type of lily or something. I want it to take off and see what it does.
Huh. Well, Delaware. Yeah, it could be hard to say. Have to get a little bigger.
Yeah, it's going to have to get a little bigger to figure out what it is and what it's going to do.
You got
But I got about,
what kind of fish you gonna put in there?
Oh, I have 9 autosinkless catfish in here. I have 3 Cory cats. And when I breed these out, I got Blue Star Endlers in here from LRB Aquatics. And then I have the White Cross Endlers in here from LRB Aquatics. And I want to breed them out and, you know, take some of the males out of here and put the males into here.
Nice.
And fill it up with, I'm going to fill this with the males that I breed from this. And then when I, you know, get more and breed more, I'll start selling them or trying to sell them or whatever. But for the most part, I'm just having fun with it. This is the first time with me trying to breed fish. So, you know, hopefully it takes off.
Well, good for you. That looks great.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. Is this your
And
first
then
tank?
over here, I have, where is it?
That looks
Oh,
like
he's back here. He's back here hiding. It's a beta fish.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's back here hiding. There he goes.
Arcus, good morning. Oh, is that a female? Looks like a female.
Yeah, it's a female glow beta. I got it before I found out that the glow betas weren't that great to get. She's got a crooked tail. She's got a kink in her tail, but you know,
Well, you
I
need
still
to
love her all the same. I still love her all the same. Yeah, and then I'm growing some pothos out of the top right here.
Cool.
But yeah, and I make my own lids out of this stuff called it's a thing called Sunlight.
Oh,
it's
I like
corrugated. Yeah, it's a corrugated plastic.
Where
I did
do
it
you
with
get
this
it?
too. You can get it on Amazon from a company called Be Cool Solutions.
Huh.
And they sell it for like $38 or $40 a sheet on Amazon, and it's so easy to cut and work with. You can cut it with scissors.
Kind of expensive. It looks nice though.
You get a big sheet of it, so you can cover more than one tank depending on your tank sizes. You get more than one lid out of it.
So it's flexible. Looks like comes in a
it's
roll.
plastic. No. It comes in a big sheet. I got a big sheet of it. I'll show you right here.
Okay, cool.
It comes like this in a big sheet, it's longer, but I've cut it off and I've cut it to size to the tank.
Oh,
So yeah, so people that get into the hobby and they get $1 a gallon sale at like Petco or something like that don't come with lids. It's a cheaper alternative and it's way easier to work with.
yeah, and it looks really nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
But yep, that's what I got going on.
Well, good. Well, thanks for coming up this morning and saying hello. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your birthday song. That was nice.
Thanks, man.
I just caught that this morning. For some reason, I did not watch all of that video from Aquatic Conquest earlier in the week. Well, thank you, John. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too, sir. I'm gonna go back to the chat. All right.
All right. Have a good day.
You too,
Bye,
sir.
bye.
Bye.
Very nice. That's a nice product. Hadn't seen that before. It looks really, really good. Lee Wilcox, I'm a grandfather. What happened and when? No, those are funny questions. Right. Tisha, Marky. Hi, Marky. John's looking after his grandfather. Yep. Craig says it's warming up in Australia. Who's here? Oh, look who's here. Look who's here. He's back home. Chubbs is here. Hi, Chubbs. Nice
Good morning, Father.
Good morning. Good morning to you. That's looking pretty good.
It's so thick the light don't even make it to the bottom no more.
Wow.
I'll do a big trim on this.
Oh my, look at that. Full of guppies.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like them full like that. More plants you have, the more fish you can have.
Yep. I got guppies, endlers, and least killifish in here. I got autocyclists, pygmy cories, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, the least killies do really well with anything. I've never noticed them being aggressive at all. Nice little fish.
And albino bristlenose babies.
Oh, look at that. Did they spawn in there?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah.
So you have a cage there?
I actually have a piece of wood that they spawn in right here in front.
Oh, cool. Huh.
It's hard to see it. It's so dark.
Nice.
But yeah. See the.
Oh.
It's let's see.
It's like a lily.
Tiger lotus lilies.
Tiger lotus, yeah.
And you see the.
Nice plant.
That right there is a Luigia repent, starting to come over the top.
Oh, okay.
There's some Salvinia.
Salvinia, right.
And some frog bit that I got from Roe.
Yeah.
It's starting to do good. And you see the
sure enough.
Carolinia coming up through the top.
Yeah.
And some Coboca green.
Mm.
Yeah, we go. This parrot feather.
Huh.
That's all I'm gonna get.
How long's that been in there?
Probably. I haven't trimmed anything in this tank in 4 months.
So the parrot's feather's been in there that long?
Yeah.
It's unusual for it to not drop its lower leaves.
Well, you can see it did over here.
Oh, okay. Down lower.
Yeah. But
so that piece you showed us is on the top.
Yeah, he's running across the top. There's
Oh,
a
yeah,
surface
right.
there.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
at
it's a
least
nice
get it.
plant. It's just a surface plant for all
Yep.
practical
I
purposes.
got it out of one of my local creeks. I picked it up.
Right. Yeah.
And then the parrot feather, the kaboka green, and a couple others I got from a local creek.
Local plants are always fun.
Yeah, but I'm about to do a big trim on this tank.
Well, that'll be interesting. You and Lee trimming your tanks out. So
Yeah.
what are you going to do with all the plants you trim?
Well, with all the trimmings, is probably going to go. Well, I have other tanks, you know. And this tank here, I haven't done anything with it yet, but I haven't put I got all the substrate and everything ready for it.
Oh,
I just
cool.
got a little bluegill and a little Texas blue that I caught locally.
Nice.
And
Is that what size tank is that?
75.
Oh, it's a big one. Okay.
Yeah, same as the other one. That one's a 75 too. I got my three. I got 4 10-gallon tanks. You see the little half moon beta.
Yeah. Little girl.
Yep, and gotta get in here and clean this tank up. That's my sheephead minnows.
Oh, cool. Have they spawned for you?
Yes, I did get one baby.
Huh.
One baby, but I agree with you. I think they need a bigger tank because it's just a 10-gallon.
Yeah. They need a lot of tanks.
Yeah, well, I think I put them.
They need about a foot radius as a spawn area.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, getting like a 30 long or something like that.
Yeah. Be nice to the big tank. They do like a bare bottom. Sparsely planted with very little cover.
Yep.
They got some
here.
tubs here.
Yep.
Nice. Soaking
drip. Piece of wood that I got off of the boat, soaking them up.
Yeah, that's a nice piece.
Yep. There's my guppy tub, and you see the little wiggy of repents coming out the water.
Oh, look at that. Nice.
Yeah, water Sprite, the parrot feather.
Another parrot's feather.
Yep. Even in here, got a water Sprite, Boca, and all doing good.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this tub grows that Salvinia better than every other tub or tank I have.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? When it gets thick, it curls.
Yep.
It starts kind of growing up. Oop, lost him. We lost Chubbs. Maybe he'll come back. We lost you, Chubbs. Let's see, John Quinn. Talking about dirted tanks. Mary Page. We're going to be the smartest people around. You already are. Already. Who was I talking to yesterday? Oh, Redfish Bluefish called me. We talked last night. He is doing something really exciting. You need to get over on Redfish Bluefish and check out his latest stream. He is doing what I've been recommending for weeks. He's opening a shop, and he's got an absolutely magnificent location. I'm not going to tell you any more about it. You need to go look. It's definitely worth spending some time learning about. And of course, there'll be lots more videos about his little tropical fish stories opening. It's going to be really quite nice and quite unique. I remember the first video that he came on YouTube with. I was astounded at the sophistication of this guy in doing plant culture. Just absolutely amazing. So do check him out. Tell him that Father Fish sent you, so he knows I'm thinking about him and caring about him. Good friend and a fabulous hobbyist. Another person who's relatively new to YouTube, not by any stretch new to the hobby, and somebody who is well worth following, well worth paying attention to. Another real plant pro. Knows his way around plants better than nearly anyone else. Redfish, bluefish. Somebody have the link for that? Get that up, please. Let's see. A lot of chatting going on here. Thank you, Chubb, for coming over. That was nice. Let's see. Let me get another link here. Oh, man. Having trouble overnight. Wound up getting up and then nearly slept through today. Java fern. Huh. John Quinn's talking about has a tank that Java fern grows, but other tanks that won't grow or barely. Well, of course, it's taking nutrition out of the water, so you've got to have nutrition in the water column for Java fern. And you may not, particularly if you're doing deep substrate. That does tend to reduce the amount of nutrition that's in the water column, where things like duckweed and other plants of that sort, floating plants or tuber plants, will further reduce the presence of nutrition in the water column. Cassidy is talking about Betta, I guess. Oh, here we go. Lee read up on male guppies and decides he doesn't like them. You're going to love them, Lee. You're going to love them. Now you have a dozen little tiny Randys. Rachy Rach. Hi, Rachy Rach. Nice to see you. Oh, the giant cardinals David was talking about, David Piper. Boy, they're amazing. They are like that. Like that. Big, let's see. Bigger than my nose. You know, I can't do this and look at it. They're bigger than my nose. They're big. They're really big. They were expensive too, but I'm only selling them for $10. And they will ship. So if anybody wants to get some, I'll be happy to ship them out. I don't think I've got them listed on Get Guild. Need to do that. The website's coming along, and we're going to try to get some things listed on Aquabid this week. We'll see how it goes. Currently, the listing name is Ababa, A-B-A-B-A. It's an old name I started with many years ago, 20 years ago. And I've got about 400 or 500 recommendations on it. So I was just going to try to save those and switch over to Father Fish. It will be listed once we get down the road a little. We're going to change the Ababa, the Father Fish. We've already requested it. So hopefully that'll happen. Randy times a million. Mary Page says about the guppies. True enough. Yeah, and they do produce some really spectacular fish. There's probably nothing ultimately really prettier than the fancy guppies. Mary Page, well, you got to stay where you are now for at least a few more days. I put your mug in the mail to you where you are, so so hopefully you'll get it. I did ship out, I don't have the notices here. I shipped out rams yesterday. Hopefully they're going to be okay. I put them on ice packs, which is kind of a crapshoot this time of year. You never know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. So I'm anxious to hear about them. It'll be Friday or Saturday when they get delivered. Also shipped a bunch of Everglades to California. So those all went out. We did 4 yesterday. Also shipped aquarium cups, plants, and a mug. So that's also in the mail. Oh, Cassie B's asking Mary what she feeds her Bettas and how often. Alishon. Once enough, I purchase or sell Project Piaba fish. Not routinely. I don't. They're not the only fish coming out of the Amazon that are being supported or are supportive of the local fishermen, local native population. I do, whenever I can, try to buy native fish, although wild caught are a kind of a specialty issue. Most hobbyists, particularly new hobbyists, do not do well with wild caught fish. And these are all wild caught fish. I love them. I really do love them. They're wonderful fish. And Piaba is a great project. It's been going on now for about, I guess, 3 years. And is having a desired effect. It was started really many years ago by a group, Amazon, what were they called? Amazon Adventures. I believe, back 25 years ago, were taking people into the Amazon to collect. And it was in part a mission group of people who also ran a clinic and provided clothing and other medicines and other necessities to Native people. A lot of these folks live way upriver in pretty isolated conditions. Many of them living on their boats right on the river and collecting. And then typically a buy boat will come along once every month or so and purchase their whatever their catch is, which they've been able to keep in net cages in the water, in the river. They sell for about a penny a piece, typically. In fact, neons sell for a lot less than that. They can sell for as little as 10 for a penny. So 100 for 10 cents, 1,000 for $1. The losses are extraordinarily high. So breeding these fish in captivity, which we've been doing now for almost 20 years, has taken a tremendous amount of pressure. Taken a tremendous amount of pressure off the native population. One of the curious things about the neon is that it's a basic food fish. It breeds by the hundreds of millions, probably the billions every year in the Amazon basin, and provides a primary food source to many, many, many smaller fish. So it's an extremely prolific fish that can be caught in extremely large numbers. But of course, doing that affects the ability of the larger fish it affects their food supply. So being able to breed them in captivity not only has provided a healthier fish and a more vigorous fish, but a fish that is not dependent on wild brood stock for its marketing. So it's kind of a big deal and kind of a really important thing. I keep promising to get Andreas on here to talk about some of this stuff. We will do that. I need to call him up and make arrangements with him so he can block out that day. But today's Thursday. I'll try to get him today or tomorrow and see if we can get him on here. We'll try to get him on for the whole session. He loves to talk, and his conversation is always just amazing, informative in a way that very, very few other people are. He does have a YouTube channel. He does not do a whole lot with it. It's called Bio Aquatics. He also is listed on Get Gills. You can buy fish from him. He also sells on eBay and on I just said it. Aqua, whatever. My brain's gone. Need to eat something. Mary Page talking to Cassie B about feeding chicken. Let's see. She stopped feeding chicken after they got sick. Also removed driftwood that had fungus growing on it. Didn't want to take any chances. Yeah, it's a delicate food to feed. I fed one year. I raised 500 bettas from fry, and I fed them beef heart and took fairly substantial losses because it's so easy to overfeed. And of course, given the nature of the food you're feeding them, it fouls rather quickly. Bettas are uniquely susceptible to bacterial infection because of the nature of their finnage. They have very little blood circulation through their blood fins, their finnage, so they can't fight off disease very well, can't fight off bacteria very well. That's why it's really important to keep Bettas clean. That doesn't mean you can't have mold. It means you can't have bacteria. Clean does not mean clean and dirty are terms that are relative. Let me try to explain. The waste that's produced by plants breaking down and by fish pooping is I don't consider that, I don't call that dirty. I call that malm because that's part of the cycle of the system. Food laying in a tank and or undigested food laying in a tank that's creating bacteria growth, I consider dirt. I consider that a foul condition. And it's real easy for that to happen, particularly if you're feeding some kind of meat. Feeding that to bettas, you can do it. You want to really maintain the cleanliness. That is to say, you want to make sure there is never any waste in there. I went from while I was doing it, I went from beef heart to chicken because there wasn't the blood problem with the chicken that there was with the beef heart. Because blood, of course, is the same thing. It's really worse because it creates a bacterial bloom, and there's nothing much you can do about it. You have to rinse it, and you really can't. You can't rinse beef heart enough to get all the blood out of it. So chicken's a little better. I think better than that for bettas is little tiny pieces of fish or tiny insects. The brine shrimp, of course, are great food. Mosquito larvae are perfect. Daphnia are perfect. Any kind of live food is really going to be preferable for bettas. For baby bettas, once you get them up past a quarter of an inch or so, really an eighth of an inch, during which time I usually feed microworm or vinegar eel. Once you get them up past that, then the decapsulated brine shrimp eggs are really a good food. They will not foul. If there are too many in there, they will break down, but it seems to be stable. It seems not to infect the tank. It stays kind of on the bottom, so you can get it out easily. And if you've got them in a dirted tank, the babies, then any excess eggs of that type are going to be taken care of by the microculture in the tank. So I feed decapsulated brine shrimp eggs to bettas until they're at least an inch, and you can feed it to adults. It's a tiny food, but they will eat it. The best thing though is to try to do live food. Try to do daphnia, mosquito, any kind of you can get out in a creek or a pond and catch little scuds or other little fairy shrimp. Those are all really ideal food for baby bettas, for adult bettas as well. The problem, here's the issue with food for bettas. The food that is sold, and I'm going to leave bug bites aside on this. We'll put the issue of bug bites aside because that really is a separate issue. And there are some processed foods like processed shrimp, processed brine shrimp. If you look at the ingredients carefully, and it is only brine shrimp or shrimp, like shrimp pellets, that is exclusively brine shrimp, as for example, golden pearls. Golden pearls are a perfect food. They're an excellent food, and you can get them graded up to pretty large that you can feed to an adult betta, or for that matter, adult small gobies, as in saltwater or freshwater gobies. But the other foods, the foods that are sold as betta food, I'm not going to mention any names because I really don't want to fight those kinds of battles. But in general, look at the label. If it contains vegetable matter as a filler or as a primary ingredient, the betta is not going to be able to digest it. Bettas have enzymes, just like every other living animal that digests food has enzymes in its gut. The enzymes in a betta's gut can only digest insects, live animal matter, live tissue. They cannot digest vegetable matter. So the vegetable matter goes through them and it gets pooped out as waste, and it fouls the water. There are a number of foods like that. Any fish food containing cornmeal. Cornmeal is not digestible by fish. It's hardly digestible by humans. Certainly not digestible by fish. It becomes waste. It may not foul the water in its raw form, in its flake form, whatever, but it most certainly fouls the water in its waste form. So be cautious what you buy. Do not buy a food because you see it advertised somewhere. Look at the ingredients. By and large, you want food that contains animal protein. There are foods that are made with algae for fish that require algae, and there are lots of fish that eat algae, lots of fish that are omnivores. All of the mbunas are omnivores. They eat, their primary food in the wild is algae. So algae wafers are a perfectly good food for them. But again, check the ingredients. Make sure it really does contain only algae and not some kind of filler that's not going to be digestible. So just kind of pay attention to that issue. Talking about hatcheries. Brine Shrimp Hatchery. Yeah, here we go. Um, there are a lot of different kinds. There's one, somebody was mentioning to me, who was it? Alex was talking about a brine shrimp hatchery from Germany, and I wrote a note down on it, which I probably can't find now. Maybe somebody can find that and post it. That was when he was on here just the other day, 2 days ago. Don't see the note. Brine shrimp are super easy to hatch. You want salt that's a little stronger than regular salt water, so around a 0.30 salinity. And aeration, while it's not critical, it does help increase the hatch. Without aeration, you'll simply get a smaller hatch. Only maybe half or fewer of the eggs will hatch. If you buy a decent quality egg, you'll get a 70, 80, even 90% hatch rate. The average is about 75%. It has to do with how long the eggs have been dry. Eggs are hatched. Eggs are laid in the late fall, early winter. In the late fall months, the shrimp will lay an egg that has a hard shell on it. Prior to that, they've been laying eggs that hatch right away, so they don't have the hard shell. The purpose of the hard shell is to allow the egg to dry out. They come to the top, they float to the top, and they blow to the shoreline. They're harvested mainly on the shoreline by the ton in Salt Lake, for example, and are dried and packaged. The first year, the hatch will be 90+%. The second year, it drops about 10%. Third year, it drops another 10%. And that's where you get a gradation in price. If you are buying by the pound, which very few of you will probably do, you'll notice the price will decrease accordingly. Typically, what you're buying in a shop is a crapshoot. It's usually a very low grade, 3 or 4 years, that are sold very cheaply by the packing company. They pack them up in small vials and sell them. And even with aeration, you may be lucky to get a 50% hatch rate. I have taken to buying decapsulated brine shrimp eggs. I did it myself for a long while, for a number of years, when the process was first developed. But the price now on decapsulated brine shrimp eggs is comparable to the cost of non-decapsulated eggs. It's kind of interesting. By volume or by weight at least. Now, of course, you're paying a wet rate because they come in a brine solution. So you're paying for that water, which means you're getting about 25% fewer eggs, but you get 100% hatch rate with it. You get no waste. Once those eggs are the shell is burned off, they use a bleach to burn off the shell and then do a fast rinse in fresh water to stop the process. There's another step in there I've forgotten, lost track of it. Haven't done it in about 25 years, so don't remember exactly how to do it. Because I just buy it this way. I buy it by the pound as decapsulated. Comes two ways. It comes wet and dry. The dry decapsulated, when you put them in water, they soften, but they will not hatch. They are, however, a perfect food for baby fish. Not the tiniest babies, they're too big for that. But small baby fish, like bettas that are a couple of weeks old. Tetra is a couple of weeks old. Other little fish that hatch out a little bigger. All of the cichlids are big enough to eat the decapsulated, non-hatching brine shrimp eggs. Baby angels can eat them. Baby rams can eat them. Although I like to feed baby rams a microworm or bacterial culture first, just to give them that initial first good feeding to get them eating and growing quickly. They may have to struggle a bit to get the egg broken down and eaten. But those are good products, and if you want to hatch brine shrimp, I'm gonna have to get these listed. They will ship, and I can ship them. You can't freeze. Can you freeze them? I have frozen them. They don't. The non-hatching is freezable. Hatching is not. But the hatching has to be kept refrigerated, or they'll deteriorate pretty quickly. And they have a shelf life, so about 6 months. In about 6 months, you're not going to get much hatching anymore, hardly any really. So it has a relatively short shelf life, but it's really a wonderful product. I don't know whether you can freeze them or not. The hatching decap, probably because it's in salt water, so you're not going to get a hard freeze with it. You'll get a kind of a slush freeze, and they'll be okay in that, and will last a little longer. Refrigerated, I keep them 3 to 4 months, sometimes a little longer. It'll get down to the point where very little actually will continue to hatch. All right, we're at 9 o'clock. We're an hour in. Let's do a little tune, shall we? Let's see who's up here. We did Lee. We need to do. Let's see. Let's do one of the girls. Let's do. Where is it? Here it is. Let's do Roxanne, then we'll do
When I
Cassie
find
B.
myself in times of take trouble, for the fishy comforts me. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my time of darkness, he is streaming right in front of me. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be. Add some sand and let it be. Father's words of wisdom, let it be. When all the broken-hearted fishes living in the tank agree, there is an answer, let it be. For though it may be cloudy, there is still a chance that they can see. There is an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be. Add some sand and let it be. There is an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be. Add some sand and let it be. Father's words of wisdom, let it be.
Good morning. This is Father Fish. I have a birthday coming up soon. I'm going to be 80 years old.
I found my way to Father Fish. He comes on in the morning every day. Add some soil, cap it with sand, then add plants. He will help you do it the right way. Add some fish, then walk away. Feed them high quality food. Thy food is best. Keep it dirty, keep it all natural. I found my way back to Father Fish. Bye, all.
Thank you. Thank you, Cassie B. Thank you, Roxanne. Box these fishes. Beautiful music, girls. Thank you so much. And the sentiment touches my heart every time I hear these tunes. It just means more than you can know. Let's see. Oh, David Piper says he built his own hatchery for the cost of an air stone and tubing. Yeah, I'm kind of with David. Now, I one of the things I did that I like is I got a jug and put a cork in the bottom with a spout on it, like a wine whatever it's called. Um, a, a wine box actually would work. and put that on a rack, so with the bottom cut out. So you put the salt water in there and the eggs and an air stone, and then when you take it out, waste will come to the very bottom. You kind of pinch that off, and then you can run the water right through a fine mesh net. Silk handkerchiefs work really well. They're fine enough that the shrimp don't go through it, or a very fine mesh net. And then that gives you pure food that's very not kind of mess free, if you will. I've mentioned this before, but I saw it on another YouTuber's video and loved it. The little bit that's left when you're finished, rather than throwing that water away, take it out and put it in an outdoor tub or a small vat, something not real big. Leave it outside in the sunlight. The sunlight will create algae in it, and the little baby brine that are left in there will grow. Within a week, you'll have half-grown brine shrimp. If you'll do that every time you have the waste, just throw it in for about a week, 2 weeks maybe, and then start another one. You will have continual adult brine shrimp with virtually no effort at all. Use a fine mesh net to dip them out, and you'll be able to feed adult brine shrimp to your fish. The Bettas will love you for it. Easy to do. Aquatic Conquest, could you do me a favor, please? I would like to use one of your videos. If you could put together clips that you have, just one thing, one piece of clips that you have from folks here that I could use then in the mornings, and I'd be happy to use that every day. We can change it. Don't need to change it routinely. As you get stuff in, you can add to, and maybe have a revolving door or something. We should have probably no more than 5 or so, because it'll just run. It runs about 5 minutes. Maybe try to hold it to 5 minutes would be good. And I would be delighted to run that every day. And I think it's something everybody would really enjoy. So, if we're doing 5, maybe 30-second pieces with a little intro and a little closing. Something like that, maybe, if that's doable. Who else is here? Swampy Acres. Good to see you, Swampy Acres. Cassie B talking about elf flower problem. Let me try to find it. Lee said Sue and I were listening to ye old English songs yesterday. I learned some old English many years ago. The songs are about trouble and strife. Oh, here it is. How can you help a fish with mouth fungus? Elflower 1 stars. And Mary Page is, or was it Cassie B? Cassie B was talking about raising the temperature and giving a salt bath. I would kick the temperature up and even higher to like 85 degrees. Salt bath is helpful if you have any kind of antibacterial medication. Put it directly on the wound. Now, you've got to be really careful when you do this, because you don't want to get the medication in the gills, which means you don't want to get it in the mouth. So when you put it on, kind of hold the fish upside down, use a Q-tip, and just touch it with the medication on the Q-tip. The triple sulfa or any of the other antibacterial ointments, just barely touch with it. You can do boy, I think I need to eat something. My brain's not clicking today. No energy there. I'm not getting synapses working. Hydrogen peroxide. But again, you want to just barely touch it, and do not risk putting it in the water. It's very easy to overdose with peroxide, and you can kill the fish very easily. You essentially oxidize its lungs, its gills. But you can kill bacteria with it. Where there is fungus, there is bacteria. Bacteria grows on living flesh. Fungus grows on dead tissue. tissue that typically is killed by bacteria or broken down by bacteria. So fungus can only grow after bacteria has broken down the tissue. So you want to treat not for fungus but for bacteria. If you see fungus, the fungus always exists in the presence of bacteria. So you want to treat the bacteria. So, talking about this, thinking about Stephen. He hasn't been here in a while. I hope he's well, and I sincerely hope he hasn't abandoned us. Um, he's certainly been of inestimable value. We tried to get him on here once and couldn't do it. I'd love to try to do it again. Let's see. What else? Oh, let's see. Aquatic Conquest. Oh, talking about doing. Oh, cool. Bought a prop today to do as a front screen shot with Father Fish to lit up in my tank. Then I go to Lee's page. He's got the bug in it. Ah, really? I think he took it out. I don't know if he put it back in. I sent one to Vinny, and Vinny had thought about doing it before he saw Lee do it. So Vinny's going to have one. And there was somebody yesterday who called me, D3V, I think, saying that I sent him 2 mugs. So that was an error. But I suggested he put one of them in one of his tanks. Let's see. There was another comment. Joanna, it's definitely contagious. Nothing like making someone else happy. It feeds your soul. That is the kind of contagion that we all want to share. Oh, I see. Stephen said they lost his supervisor and it increased his hours at work. Well, anyone who talks to him, please give him my best. Tell him we miss him, and tell him if he ever has a chance to come on. Would love to have him come on live. We tried it and couldn't get the equipment right, but he may well have resolved that by now. Peplin Creek. I love the fish in the mug. Looks like Father Fish had fish on the brain. What are we talking about? Oh, fish in the mug. Oh, that is cute. Gotta agree. That is cute. Right. Really. As Mary Page saying, I've definitely learned that no matter how bad I feel or how hard things are, the more positivity I try to put out. It really helps with healing. You betcha. You betcha. Helps with old age too. I think that's going to be my secret for so long as I continue. Now that I'm in my 80s, I have a I'm asked for advice. Already happened once. How do you live so long? And my answer is maintain a positive attitude. I mean, I always have. I've always had a pretty positive attitude. Once in a while, I've become depressed. Once I was clinically depressed for about 2 days, and I went to the doctor and they gave me a pill. One pill, took the pill, it broke the cycle, and I got out of it. But it was bad. I mean, it was like spiraling downward, and I couldn't stop it. Everything had just gone to hell in my life. It was really a bad time. This was 40 years ago, I guess, when I was about 40. Tough time. 40-year-olds have a hard time of it. I think 40 to 50 is maybe the hardest decade in a person's life. 40 to 50 is it's when you're fully capable of everything you're ever likely to be capable of, and not and experienced enough to know how to do everything, but not experienced enough to know what to do about it or how to go about it. You know, I have enormous admiration for people in their 40s who fail, and nearly all do, and get back up and come right back and do it again and make it work. That takes real guts, and it takes a real positive attitude. It takes a can do it kind of attitude, because failure, when you're in your 40s, after you've invested years in education, years in experience, and then fall on your face, when you've got half-grown kids, a mortgage and bills, automobiles and a wife, man, your life can fall apart, and can fall apart pretty quick. And mine did. For about 2 days, I think. For 2 days, I went through that. It really was longer because it took me time to get there. It was, I guess 6 months after everything fell apart that I finally just really hit bottom. But it took me then hitting bottom. And I took a pill, and that got over the physiological aspects of it, because there were real physiological aspects to it. I mean, it was like having a disease that was in control of me, except it was kind of a psychic disease, not mental so much as emotional. And when I took the pill, it somehow broke the cycle and gave me the chance to kick it into reverse and to kind of get out of that, to raise myself out of it. Didn't take any real effort at that point. It just stopped the process. It stopped that downward spiral, which allowed me then to take a breath and to kind of move on without further collapse. And then it was golly, another year during which the Lord just blessed me. He put me in a beautiful place on a big, majestic farm estate way down on the eastern shore, in a farmhouse, a beautiful, cute little farmhouse, right on the Wye River. If anybody knows anything about the eastern shore of Maryland, right on Wye River, where I could catch fish and take long walks. I struggled financially for several years after that, but emotionally, I found myself singing as I walked, and my song was always, realizing that I had lost everything, absolutely everything. There was nothing left except my relationship with God. And that was there. I was in his hand. I was comforted by that. And I sang, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I want to thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I want to thank you, Lord." And I sang that over and over and over again as I walked. And that's all I had for a long, long time. That's all I had. Finally, my mother said, "Son, you're languishing." She called me Buddy. That was my family name, Buddy or Bud. Said, "Buddy, you're languishing. You need to come to Florida." I did not want to go to Florida. I was actually pretty happy with where I was, and I was developing a very close friendship with a very unique person who was also a very godly person. And I kind of wanted to stay there, but, well, you know how mothers are. When they put out the call, you don't refuse. I never told her that, and I'm glad I never did, because she would have felt guilty about it. Never wanted her to feel that way. So I went to Florida. And I guess she was right. I've been here 30 years now. I came in 91. Been in Florida 30 years and have wanted to leave pretty much every year since I've been here, but could not figure out a better place to go. So I stayed. And I'm still there, still in the same place. I always think about, moving on, doing something else, but I don't. I guess because I'm satisfied to be here. It offers me everything I love, except family, and I've lost touch with a lot of my extended family. Kept touch with brothers and sisters, but extended family, not so much. I follow them on Facebook a bit. We chat once in a while, but I've not been back to Maryland. Not very often, a few times. No more than a dozen times over the years. Maybe a little more, not much more. Well, that's a funny reminiscence. I don't know where I got with all that. Depression, I think. The 40s, I think. Well, I hope that little chat was of some value and advantage to someone. Let's see. And that jumped off of Mary Page, talking about maintaining positivity. Okay, moving down here. Fish on the brain. I like that, Pepperland Creek. Pretty cool. Stephen left a message. Oh, good. Where? Rohan. Where did Stephen leave a message? Can you read it to us or point us to it? Comelanus worms. Here fishy. Comelanus worms. Let's CAMMALLANUS worms. I think I got the 1M. Comelanus worm. How to treat commonly encountered internal parasite. Let's see. Let's put this up here. I'll probably lose my picture again, but what the heck. How to treat fish for camellinus worms. To kill the worms, they recommend Wormer Plus. It's the pigworm stuff. Can they kill your fish? They certainly can. Poor quality water, overcrowding, and an unsuitable diet will weaken the immunity of the host fish and cause the. Here we go. Here's a good comment. Can camellinus kill your fish? This is from, doesn't say. Let's see where we are. Aquarium Nexus. From Aquarium Nexus. Camellinus worms will kill fish in severe infestations. It can trigger several consecutive deaths, often with no clear cause. Common symptoms include wasting, bloating, disinterest in food. Look out for a starved appearance. Live bearers can exhibit shivers and shakes. They can appear as though they're swimming in place. If your fish is mostly active and you observe them swimming in one place, that may be it. Such symptoms can be non-existent in fish kept under stable conditions. The infestation will, however, be made worse by poor water quality, overcrowding, and an unsuitable diet. These factors will weaken the immunity of the host fish and cause the infestation to be worse. They will not infect snails and shrimp. They do not appear to be dangerous to humans. Fenbendazole, they're recommending. Lefamisole, they're recommending. Let's see what else. Written by Fabian. They're common internal parasite. They target many species, goldfish, mollies, angels, and guppies. Can be challenging and hard to detect. When the worms become adults, you'll see them hanging from the anus. That's when they release and go into the substrate to lay eggs. They feed on the blood of the fish. Treatment includes medication, lefamisole and fenbendazole. To prevent infestation, quarantine newly acquired fish. The worms target crustaceans as their host. They can find their way into your aquarium through live foods consisting of crustaceans. Ensure they are sourced from ponds without fish. Now that's a really excellent piece of advice. If you are feeding live food can only have columnaris if it's coming out of a body of water that contains fish. So, if you are raising daphnia, once the daphnia culture is established, that would be generation 2. babies hatched and growing out. Those babies are safe to feed if you're growing them in a container, in a container that does not have fish in it. So as you're raising wild foods, raise them in containers without fish and feed the F1s. Don't feed the original unless you know you've gotten it from a body of water that does not contain fish. The reason is simple. The worm needs to go, one of its stages in its cycle is to live in a fish for a period of time until it can mature and then drop to the bottom, breed, and lay eggs. The babies then host in a daphnia, which is eaten by a fish that gets it into the gut, and it burrows through the wall of the gut into the flesh of the fish. Or attaches itself to the gut. Doesn't go into the flesh. It attaches itself to the gut and sucks the juices. It's not like a tapeworm. It's a worm that feeds on the fluids of the fish, like an ick parasite does. Ick does the same thing. The ick burrows in. The columnaris will attach itself to the gut and feed on the fluids in the gut. And then when it matures, it releases and is expelled. Where it goes down into the bottom, it finds a mate, and it breeds, and it lays eggs, and the eggs hatch, and the babies find a host, daphnia or some other little microscopic shrimp-type critter that it attaches to until it's eaten by a fish and continues the cycle. So if you have no fish and you've gotten past that first population, that wild population, and now have F1s, the babies of that population, they're not going to have the parasite. So they're safe to feed. And daphnia's a good one to feed that way because you can raise them pretty easily in pretty large quantities. Hope that helped here, Fishy. So obviously what you want to do is with wild fish, there's always the possibility of parasites, and many wild fish do come in with parasites. I typically don't deal in wild fish. Somebody was talking about the wild fish project coming out of the Amazon. Those fish are isolated for a long enough period of time to rid them of parasites. That's the piaba fish. They are also treated for parasites, so they're pretty safe. But generally speaking, wild fish, you want to keep them in the tank with other wild fish or keep them isolated until you're sure they're clean. And that's really simply a matter of holding on to them for 2 to 4 weeks to make sure that parasite will drop off and is no longer internal to the fish. Alishon had a couple of wild dwarf cichlids with mouth fungus. API triple sulfa took care of it pretty quickly. That's my favorite. I really like triple sulfa. I use it. I use it a lot. It's something I have sitting on the shelf. It's pretty safe to use. You can use it topically, which is of enormous benefit, not having to treat the whole body of water. And it lasts forever. It'll sit on the shelf for years without deteriorating. So that's one of the few drugs I recommend. And obviously, API carries it. Local shops should carry it. I think I've got it listed. If I don't, I will. Just to make sure you've got that sitting on your shelf. Can you quarantine fish with medication for parasites like Metro? Yes, absolutely. Again, you have to do the same period, that 2 to 4 weeks, if you're quarantining, um, because the Metro may not get into the fish's gut. You want to feed it. With Metro, um, if you'll soak your food in it, and then feed that to the fish so it gets it in the gut. It's a really important trick. Simply having medication in the water doesn't necessarily help with internal parasites. The slime coat of the fish protects it from just that, from intrusion by foreign objects and foreign materials. So it can actually, the slime coat of the fish can actually prevent medication from entering the fish's body. Obviously, it'll kill external parasites, but if it's internal, you need to treat through the food. With big fish, that's pretty easy. You get a little capsule, put the food in the capsule, put it in the goldfish, stick it down its throat, toss it in there, and the fish will eat the goldfish and get the medication in its gut. Let's see where we are here. Mary Page used the dog dewormer. Still can't put in the right snails in there. Yeah, capping will help. 3 inches of sand, Mary, that does help. One of the problems with some of the medications, I think Alex was mentioning yesterday the importance of having some activated charcoal sitting on the shelf in a closed, tight container in order to be used to remove medication from your tank. That's a really good piece of advice and a very helpful one. There are some medications, however, such as copper. I think I mentioned this the other day. Copper will actually etch into um, silicone, acrylic, any wood or or semi-porous rock that you have. It'll get down in the substrate. It becomes extremely difficult to get copper out once you put it in, to the point where I don't like to use copper. I haven't used copper in years and frankly don't miss it. Um, it's extremely toxic and it kills invertebrates and stresses fish. So I don't think it's a good idea. I think I mentioned yesterday it was the very first medication that was used to treat saltwater fish was pennies, copper pennies, which worked. It killed the parasites and it killed the crustacean and it killed the beneficial bacteria, and eventually it killed the fish. Wasn't really long-term helpful. Yeah, I would, Mary Page. It should have helped. A lot of that stuff does not break down ever. And the copper is a good example. Copper does not break down. It can bond, so you get like a copper sulfate or a chelated copper, but it's still copper for my money. Big City Betta, Susan is here. Hi, Susan. Amber, hi, Amber. Hi, Nathan, Texas Fish. Nathan Bellenberger. We did the metronidazole. That was Nathan. What is Aquatic Conquest is laughing about something. Peplin, get ready for a gap. Anchorworms, cankerworm. Only dealt with Panaria. Cankerworms. Yeah, that's something else again. It's a fascinating conversation here. Anchorworm. Best way to get rid of anchorworm. Texas Fish is asking. Has anybody looked this up yet? Thought I saw something. Oh, Mary Page has said she's never seen anchorworm. Actually, metronidazole would work. Did the dog dewormer? I don't know that anchorworm is a problem. I guess we need to look it up, don't we? Anchorworm in fish tank. Anchorworm in fish tank. How to treat it in freshwater fish. Oh, yes. This is a nasty one. Let's get a picture of it up. This is a nasty one. A goldfish, particularly. There's one on a Betta. So something on a molly, molly. Look at this. Hanging off the goldfish. Betta fish. Remove the fish. It's not a worm. It's a copepod. It's a crustacean. They're recommending Dimolin X for getting rid of anchor worms. Let's see what else. PetMD. Let's go into it. What is it? Types, trematodes, crustaceans, annelids, such as bristleworms, fireworms, leeches, tapeworms, nematodes, such as hookworms and roundworms, treating for parasitic worms. Antibacterial product for a parasitic infection. Using it is irresponsible and can breed antibiotic resistant organisms. So here we go. Reaching for an over-the-counter OTC worm treatment may make the problem worse. Now they're talking about treating pets, dogs and cats. Here we go, aquatic animals. One of the largest groups, zoanthic worms. Oh. Treating your aquarium for parasitic worms. They want to make a diagnosis. I see. Okay, so that MD is going to send you to a vet. That kind of figures. And they don't recommend an over-the-counter OTC if it is antibacterial. So they don't want to use antibacterial. They recommend quarantining. And of course, they don't recommend any medication at all. So we're going to move right along here. The fish doctor. Danger in treatment. They are nasty buggers. Look at them pulling it out. See if I can get that a little bigger. Description and treatment. Life cycle harm treatment. Two-pronged approach. One part involves taking each infected fish out of the aquarium, one by one, to remove the anchor worms. Use tweezers, grab the anchor worm tightly and pull it out quickly before the worm has a chance to react. Dab the sore with an aquatic antiseptic. That's where the antibacterial comes in. Second part of the treatment involves adding a chemical treatment to the water to kill off free swimming. Use an organophosphorus insecticide such as metrophenate. So the metronidazoles, just as I suspected, will work. Okay, so you want to remove the parasite and then treat the water for free swimming. That ain't too bad. A little messy. Mary Page be good at that. She's good at pulling stuff off a fish. Like that. Alrighty. Big city Betta, 20 bloodworms a day. Feed about 5 every other day. Who said 20? Rohan has a question about his tetras. Where is Rohan? I'll go to the bottom. So far, I'm not finding it. Oh, I have Rohan saying, that's cool, Mary. I do need, who's here? Nobody. Nobody here to help. Aquatic Conquest, you're asking for this. Just so happens I've already done it, and here it is. Wonderful. So I'll go back and get it. Maybe we can play it. Now post the link, Aquatic Conquest, and we'll play it. We'll play it going out. That'll be fun. Nathan. Oh, that would be fun, Nathan. Showing us a trout farm. That would be very cool. Let's see. Michael Kirby, hello, hello. T-shirts, not coming along at all. We're not making any headway on T-shirts. Mary Page, call me. We need to make headway on T-shirts. The live chat does show up on the replay, but it does not show up until about 12 hours after it's posted. So the next day, the live chat is available. It's not available right away. Texas Fish saying you can't leave the head in, it'll grow back. Yeah, they're saying it, grab and pull quick. Okay, I did not get Rohan's question. Aquatic Conquest. Maybe we can post. Oh, here it is. Fryer in a bucket with an air stone. Another bucket has fry. Big City Betta is talking about feeding less. Feeding less keeps fish healthier. And I think that's what Big City Betta is making a claim for. So I could not get it. Shall I put the 5 from a bucket into the tank? Well, if it's the same water, go ahead and do it, Rohan. And if you're putting them in a bare bottom tank, I think for fry, it's always a good idea to grow them out in a bare bottom tank if you have hatched them separately. If you've hatched them in a bare bottom tank, then keep them in a bare bottom tank because you want them to be able to get those first foods. Another important thing is to keep them in a small tank so the food is close to them so they can find it. If they're in too big a container, the food gets lost and they won't be able to find it. They can only find the food that's a quarter of an inch in front of their eye. They don't see anything else. They're not going to chase food around the tank. They can only grab what's right directly in front of them. Good company for freshwater gobies. Oh, gee. Depends on the kind you want to abolish. I usually have a lot of them. And mine always do real well. I'll start looking for some and getting them in. There are some local. You want big stuff or little stuff? Just depends on what you're looking for. There are a lot of different kinds of gobies. Insectivores. Yeah, Big City Bet is talking about Bettas being kept too cold. They don't like to be cold. Wrong temperature and wrong diet will constipate them. And they don't eat peas. Peas don't help. Going back here. Oh, it's talking about feeding more, not less. Many of the domestic Bettas she sees are underweight and have poor body conditions. Yeah, that's usually not the fault of not feeding, but poor feeding, feeding stuff they can't digest, like vegetable matter. Here's Rohan. Hey, Rohan. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
What are you asking about?
Yeah, about my tetra fry. So they've already hatched out, and
Right. Okay.
they're in the stank.
Yeah, your black skirts.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they hatch out in one day.
Yeah.
So you've got. Where are they now? They're in there.
Yeah, there are a few in the glass as well.
What do you have to feed them?
I've cultured some infusorium.
Okay, good. Feed them right in there. Don't move them. Just leave them in there. Are the adults gone?
The adults are in the pool pond I showed you yesterday.
Okay, good. Good. So you just have babies in there. Yeah, leave them alone. They're fine in there.
Yeah.
That's where you move them.
Yeah. And how long can I feed infusorium?
A couple of weeks until they get big enough. Until they get big enough to feed them something larger. What do you have that's larger?
I have some hikari fry food. That's about it. First bite.
First bites. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be a couple of weeks, probably 2 weeks before they'll be ready for that. If you can order very tiny golden pearls, see if somebody near you sells golden pearls.
I don't think it's available.
It's a very tiny shrimp pellet that's really quite good for baby fish.
Okay.
Other than that, with your infusoria, try to separate out some daphne or something a little bigger and get a culture of that going, and you can feed that as the next food.
Oh,
So just keep them on live food.
can I give some algae water from the bucket outside?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
A little bit. Yeah.
That's what I would give them now. And do not worry about putting too much in. You can put, that's a large container. I would put quite a lot in, at least a pint. Maybe a quart, that's pretty big. I would put a quart in, put a lot in. It's not going to hurt the fish, and they'll be able to find food better. And it'll live in there.
Okay. And as far as my filtration is concerned, I have a small internal filter.
A sponge filter, yeah, that's good.
And
That's
it's
perfect.
just an internal one. It's not a sponge.
Perfect. That's all you need. Yep. That's fine.
Right. I can get microworms online.
Yeah,
Will
that's
that
a
do?
good fish. You can feed that when they're about 2 weeks old, maybe a week old. It's pretty tiny, but they're very tiny. I would do the infusoria. Go ahead and order microworms, get them in and start culturing them. You need to do a new culture of microworms every 2 weeks. Look up microworm culture on the fish fab. There are a bunch of guys doing it who do a really good job with it. So you can learn about how to do that. So that's perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
And also, I wanted to show you one plant.
Yes.
Polygonum pink species.
Okay.
The one I had asked you about a month ago. They're growing well.
Nice.
Can you see them?
Yes.
Oh, just wanted to show you.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that's about it, Father Fish.
Well, thank you so much, Rohan.
Thank you so much.
Very nice. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Take care. Love you.
Bye.
Bye bye. I'm looking for. Oh, here we go. That's Aquarium Comp. Rohan's channel. Oh, nice. Aquarium Comp has posted Rohan's channel. Let's see. I guess I'm gonna have to go over to Aquatic Conquest. Here we go. Here we go. Posted an hour ago. Bye-bye, all. Nice to be with you today. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a lovely day. Good to be with you. Nice to see you. Thank you, Aquatic Conquest, for this gorgeous piece of work. Here's Peplin Creek. And a really pretty peacock. Wow. Mary J. Mary Page. Bye, Dave. Bye, Mary Page. Dreamweaver. Nice to see you. Big City Bettas, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate your input. Tisha, bye-bye, Tisha. Abolished Farms. Bless you, bye-bye. Marky, bye, Marky. Sam Dam. Bye, Sam Dam. Thank you again, Rohan. Cassie B and Foxy's Fishes. Look at them right together there. My favorite girls. Two of my favorite girls. Thank you, all my loves. Oh, look at that. That's fabulous. Get well, Cassie B. We need you. Oh, somebody sent us Aquarium Cop. Sent us a $1.99 super sticker. There he is. Thank you, Aquarium Cop. I'm not finding. See if I can find it here. Thank you for the super sticker, Aquarium Cop. Dragon Lawyer. Used his bug bites for Bettas. I'm sure it's an excellent choice. HC Aqua, look at that. How pretty. Jennifer J. Puddle. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Tom. Hi. How are you? No, we're not going to have worms till November. No, I mean they're not going to be available. I don't know what the problem is. They're just not, they're not shipping them out. They're not going to ship them out until November. I do. I've got some nice ones. Yes, I have rams. I have some new chocolate key. I've got keyhole cichlids. Got some little keyholes. I have the rams. I have a few. I don't think I've got pairs though. Yeah. I've got three. I've got a few. I've got 3 or 4. We can do that. Okay, good. All right. Take care.